I'm now coming up on a couple weeks ownership of the new DJI Mavic Air, and I've definitely grown to like it, and I've found some strengths and weaknesses of the drone itself. So let me go over some of the pros and cons of the Mavic Air. So to start off with, the remote controller has sticks that are removable on it, and it is awesome. The controller is that much more flush. It fits in bags easier now because you don't have sticks, pointing up basically, and you don't have to worry about them getting caught on anything. However, of course, you do need to worry about losing them, but it does come with extra ones and they tuck into the controller very nicely. So I don't really see that becoming an issue. The camera itself has a nice integrated gimbal cover, which snaps on very easily. There's no need for an aftermarket one like with the Mavic, because it just goes on the camera, it centers it very easily and snaps into place. And of course, another benefit to having the Mavic Air is that it is small. Everything slides together, the arms fold in very easily. Everything just functions very well. So it is small and compact in that regard. I've seen a couple people complain or even ask about having folding propellers on here. I don't really see the need, although it is sometimes frustrating with the way that these fold in. You have to make sure the propellers are lined up properly. They really don't stick out very far from the body. And so other than preventing snags and that kind of thing, putting it in and out of a bag, I don't really see any benefits to having folding propellers. But if that option was there, I think it would be nice, but it's definitely not a con by any means. And lastly, the Mavic Air does have built-in memory. It's got 8 gigs built in, which is very convenient because, believe it or not, I mean, there's times you go out there, you think that you've got the memory card in there and you don't because it's in the computer or in your card reader or something like that. It really sucks. Obviously, 8 gigabytes is not going to get you a lot of video. However, it might help you, get those last couple shots, or, if you go out somewhere and you really only need a few quick shots, it'll get that handled for you. Now on to things I don't like about the DJI Mavic Air. First off is the memory card. It is horrible. And you can see the memory card in there, but you can kind of click it out with your fingernail, but I don't really have large fingers, but I have trouble getting it in there. It's really kind of a pain in the butt, and the first time you go to swap that out, you'll probably complain about it. And so I've got some concern about the little battery door as well, because it doesn't really fully open and you're trying to jam your finger in there to get the memory card. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Obviously, if you're using a paper clip or something like that, it might be a little bit easier, but it's not very convenient trying to shove your finger in there and grab it with the edge of your fingernail and pull it out. So that by far is my most disliked thing about the Mavic Air. Secondly, I'd mentioned before that I really didn't seem to mind the plasticky feel of it. However, when you pick up the Mavic Pro, it does feel a lot nicer, and I feel like if this had better build materials, it would feel a little bit nicer in the hands. It's not a deal breaker, but it does kind of feel a little plasticky. And again, as I mentioned in the unboxing video, I really don't think it's going to be an issue longevity-wise. It just, when you actually hand it to someone or you're looking at it and feeling it, it feels a little cheap, but no big deal. Cheap materials hopefully lead to having a lighter weight, which makes it easier to fly and longer battery life. And battery life brings up an interesting point. Battery life on this is okay. It's not horrible, it's not bad. I was ranging between 13 to 17 minutes if I was really pushing it. So not a lot of flight time. Of course, it's enough to really kind of get a few shots here and there, but sometimes by the time you actually get the drone up, flying, you set your shots and everything, you're down to half battery. So again, you're gonna want to make sure you pick up extra batteries. If you get the Fly More kit, of course you end up with 3, so you have a decent amount of flying time, but battery life on it isn't really superb. The final thing that I don't like about the DJI Mavic Air is that it's too much in the middle. This doesn't feel like a revolutionary new drone. It just feels like a drone that was kind of plopped there in the middle. So let me go over some of the stats to explain what I'm talking about. And I'm reading off of a comparison chart straight off of the DJI website, so you can open that up and you can select different drones and compare them and see basically any differences between them. So first up is price, of course. Price does come in a little bit steep at $799 or $999 for the Fly More combo. But if you just go off the drone itself, $499 for the Spark, $799 for the Air, or $999 for the Mavic Pro. Again, dead center right in the middle. If you threw a dart, boom, right there. Weight, also in the middle, 300 grams for the Spark, 430 for the Air, and 734 for the Pro. Flight time, 16 minutes, 21 minutes, 27 minutes. Intelligent flight modes, 5 on the Spark, 7 on the Air, and 11 on the Pro. Max ascent speed, 3 meters per second on the Spark, 4 for the Air, and 5 for the Pro. Now, as far as max speed goes, there is a slight difference here. The Mavic Air comes in at 68 kilometers per hour, while the Pro comes in at 65. I actually haven't been able to beat my top speed score or record on the Air that I have with the Pro. So I don't know if that was just wind conditions for the day, but I have been getting close to it, but I haven't actually beat it. And then of course the Spark comes in significantly slower, 50 kilometers per hour. Hovering time for all three, 15 minutes for the Spark, 20 for the Air, and 24 minutes for the Pro. So you can see what I'm talking about here, where everything is just dead set in the middle. Internal storage, now of course I mentioned that is a Pro on the Mavic Air. That is a Pro because it's got 8 gigabytes built in. The gimbal also has a little bit more range on the Air as compared to the Pro. Now, when it comes to actual detection and forward and rearward sensors and everything, the Air, of course, has the Spark and the Mavic Pro Beat. However, not by much, but it does have improved distance, and it also has sensors on the rear, of course. When it comes to actual video itself, ISO range, again, max on the Spark is 3200 for video. On the Mavic Air, it's 1600, and on the Mavic Pro, 3200. You do get more shot modes on the Mavic Air, but again, not by that many. And most of these, ends up being a certain size. It's stuff that you can do after the fact. When you do take a photo, you can go in and edit it later. But it is nice that the Air has that more options for you, basically. Now, video bitrate is also higher on the Mavic Air at 100 versus 60 for the Mavic Pro. So the video quality itself should be a little bit higher and give you more room to edit with. And lastly is the transmission quality for the video going to your actual iPad or tablet or whatever it is that you're using. You're maxed out at 720p on the Mavic Air, but with the Pro, you can hit up to 1080p. And when you're flying around, you do notice it, especially when you're further out and you've got a much higher quality video on the Mavic Pro versus the Mavic Air. So those are the things that I like and dislike about the Mavic Air, along with, kind of a quick comparison between the Spark and the Mavic Pro. At the end of the day, I can't really see why you would necessarily get this Air. There are a few extra modes on there that you don't get with the Mavic Pro, but overall, it feels like it's too much in the middle. DJI spent time basically making it not beat out the top drone rather than trying to make the absolute best drone that they could. And because of that, it falls perfectly in the middle, and I'm just not a very big fan of that. I feel like when you have a new product coming out, it should be the absolute best. But it just seems like the DJI Mavic Air was a little bit too limited, and they purposely put it right down the center as to not take away sales from the Mavic Pro, but still being better than the Spark. So with that said, I think if I was going to be buying a drone and I only had one drone, I would probably go for a Spark, because the quality is actually really good on it for the price. Or if you do need all the features and everything like that, pick up a used Mavic Pro, or even, sales right now. There's some really good ones on a brand new Mavic Pro. There's rumors, of course, that the Mavic Pro 2 is coming out. So that, of course, should be even better than all of the three that I've been talking about here. But in the meantime, drones that are available right now, I would probably buy the Mavic Pro used, get it from somebody who bought it, hasn't used it very much, and you get accessories, extra batteries, all of that kind of stuff, rather than spending similar money and getting a drone that has a few features that are better, but for the most part, come in just underneath it. If you like what I'm doing here, of course, make sure you hit like on the video, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel for more reviews.